Hey everyone, my guest today is Justin Mcdonald. He spent 16 years in SaaS. He's an entrepreneur, Atlanta-based, focused on MarTech, chat, and GRC technologies. He was the CEO of RambleChat. It was acquired last year by Terminus. As the GM of chat, email, and sales experience, now he is the GM of chat, email, and sales experience at Terminus, also a car enthusiast. Justin, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, look forward to it.
Well, something's in the water down there in Atlanta. You've got Taupe crushing it. You've got Atlanta Tech Village. David Cummings just has like a magic touch, I guess, huh?
He does, man. It's what, 3 or 4 really great outcomes lately with Rigor, and of course he has sales off and Terminus in the balance. So yeah, he's got the magic touch.
Yep. Okay, so you were acquired by Terminus in what month and year?
April 6, 2020. So smack dab during the pandemic. Interesting times.
So we'll now go back before that, build up to that point. So when was RambleChat launched, and what did the product do?
Yeah, so great question. So I came on as an original board member and advisor, and there was a sister company that had invented this great technology called Chat from Anywhere, which the whole evolution is, hey, you go to a website, you go to a landing page, you launch a snippet, you have chat, right? But what about the expansion of the digital spectrum, the experience where what if you could chat with someone with one click from anywhere online? So the whole underpinnings of the architecture was, how do you extend chat beyond the website? And so in 2018, I came on board as kind of a co-founder, pre-revenue, and we started it from there.
Okay, so that wasn't the plan to start, right? So what happened? Why couldn't the founding team get revenue? Why couldn't they get going?
Great question. So I think that they were great technologists, they were great architects, but they didn't really understand the go-to-market motion and how to launch something. That was where I came in. That was my expertise on taking things to market. And so it was just a really great skill set they needed some fresh eyes. They needed someone to come on board to take this really great idea, this fantastic technology, and bring it to life.
Okay. And you're saying that sister company, you were then rebranded as RambleChat?
It was. So it had been rebranded. The entity was it was doing DBA, a number of legal components I won't get into, but it was pre-revenue. It was essentially launching a brand new product that had just been developed. There was kind of the underpinnings from a sister company called Teledini.
Okay, interesting. So I guess, what did the cap table look like the day you joined? I mean, were you majority shareholder as the sole founder?
So I was not the sole founder. So I had two other co-founders who were original founders of the sister company, and they had raised some money, right? They'd raised a couple million that played into the development of the, at that time, existing Ramble technology. And so, however, I would say it's a weird paradigm in that they had raised money. Some of it used in a sister company, some of it used to build the Ramble technology, but it became really a bootstrap approach, right? They were out of money at that point that I joined, and I agreed.
They spent all. How much did they raise? 3 million, you said?
Around 2.5 or so.
They spent all of it. Bank was at zero.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bootstrap job straight from 2018 on.
And so I always wonder in situations like this, I understand you want to keep your current investors, keep them a return, like not shut the thing down and restart, but there was no cash left. I mean, why not just shut down and restart and buy the tech and the IP from the old company and give the investors a little return?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that kind of speaks to the outcome that we had so quickly, right? Less than 2 years from me coming on board, we got acquired. And I think that played into it. I wanted to do right by the existing base. I'd gotten to know the investors. Some of them sat on the board. Yes, of course, there could have been an IP play, but I think my partners, loyal, really great business folks, cared about the investors, wanted to take care of them versus do the greedy kind of, flip it over, buy the IP and kind of, get the win.
Did you guys raise additional capital after you joined, or you stayed bootstrapped?
So we raised very little. So I say bootstrap. We raised an additional $250K in early 2019.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, got it. So 250K then, and again, we're in 2019 now, and we haven't talked about this yet. But what is RambleChat? What were people paying you for?
Sure. It was a software as a service product, and it's sat smack dab in the conversational marketing chat space, right? You probably saw ZoomInfo acquired Incent.ai 2 days ago, which is another small conversational marketing player. So a lot of Drift leading the way. There's a lot of momentum in the conversational marketing space, but essentially it's how do you rebrand the old legacy bottom of the funnel customer support chat and repurpose it so that sales and marketing folks can start to convert conversations, personalize, and really get away from forms, right? The whole premise is we live in this on-demand society. People don't want forms and the old marketing automation conversion. how can you utilize the chat technology to create more of a conversation and collecting information and converting.
Mm-hmm. And what were people paying on average for this back in 2019?
It varied. The average deal size, it was spread around probably 15K ARR.
Okay, got it. It's called $1,000, $2,000 a month, something like that.
Yep.
Okay, so again, not SMB, but not quite enterprise, sort of mid-market play. And flesh out the rest of the business at that point. 2019, how many team members?
So we had less than 10 team members at that point.
How many in 2020 at acquisition time?
Right around 10.
Right around 10.
We stayed fairly steady.
Yeah, that's great.
Small business, mighty business, capital efficient at that point when I took over. Not a huge rate.
In 2019?
I'm sorry?
Profitable in 2019?
It was not profitable.
Okay.
Pretty close to break even. We were not profitable, pretty close to break even. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And how many customers in 2019?
I can't disclose that.
You can't share customer count.
I can't share customers. I would say it's less than 100, more than 50. How's that?
Okay, that's fine. 50 to 100. What Terminus said, we're going to acquire you, but the one thing you cannot disclose is how many customers you had a year ago before acquisition.
It's complicated, but I'm trying to be fair to my NDAs and the non-disclosure of terms. So
understood. Okay, so you move forward. When did the Terminus reach out happen? Was it at Atlanta Tech Village over coffee, or who emailed you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Terminus, so I had several entry points in a Terminus, right? Eric Spett, the old CEO, obviously David Cummings was an investor, but Terminus was a customer of RambleChat. So they knew the technology. They loved it. It was working well. They were seeing ROI. So we had the benefit that they had used the technology. They did some stress testing, and they loved the IP play, right? This was a big IP play. They didn't buy us for our ARR. They bought it. They bought us for the team. They bought us for the technology.
Mm-hmm. Are all 10 still with Terminus? They
are not. And some of those 10 were contractors, and all 10 are not with.
And
the core team, the good majority of the team still is, by the way.
Yeah. Now, this is middle of COVID. The last thing most companies are thinking about is how do I spend a bunch of cash on an acquisition? They want to preserve cash for extra runway. What did Terminus pay for you guys?
I'm sorry?
What did Terminus pay for you guys?
I can't disclose that, but I can say the multiple was over 10x.
The 10x revenue multiple.
Yep.
And what gave you that sort of leverage? I mean, you had raised a little bit of capital already. How were you able to get above 10x?
I think the technology, so we had a patent pending on our chat from anywhere technology that allowed companies to engage customers beyond the website. So I think the IP around that patent pending technology was valuable. I think the momentum and the growth in the market around conversational marketing and chat was tremendous, with Drift and Intercom now qualified as Salesforce-backed company coming into play. So I think it's highly prophetic by Tim Kopp and some folks at Terminus to see the big channel push and how that can merge into an account-based model, an account-based marketing technology. And so I think it was the IP, it was the talent behind it, and the recognition that, yes, data reigns supreme in account-based marketing, but having the right channels and first-party data captures is super important as well.
When you guys sold the business, was most of this deal price stock now in Terminus, or did common holders, early employees that you incentivized with equity, did they get some cash payout on the exit?
I can't disclose that, but let's just say both parties, our existing investor base, the founders, customers, it was a great transaction for all, both for Terminus as well as a RambleChat investor base.
Got it. I have to go read the Terminus announcement and see if they said if it was all stock or all cash.
Yeah, go read that. We just obviously did a recent Series C as well for Terminus at 90 million. So it was a great transaction for all.
Yeah. Okay. So, excuse me. You sell in 2020. Why? How are they able to convince a guy like you to stick around?
That's a great question. So that we did a recent reorg. So I know my bio is a little bit out of date that you just read. So I'm the GM of all channel applications at Terminus. So I picked up digital ads as well as the ones that you read off. Quite honestly, I think Terminus is in this Goldilocks zone, right? Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Yes, I'm no longer, the CEO, but I'm working for a fantastic company, a leader who's probably the most humble, competent leader that I've experienced in Tim Kopp. And it's ABM's a hot market. You see some of the recent investments, the valuations, or unicorns are popping up left and right in the space. So it's a great company. It's a great culture, hot market, right? So it's hard to turn that down. And of course, they're obviously taking care of us to stick around.
It was reported that $90 million raise was around a $400 million valuation. I mean, 25% of the company in this range, I mean, you could argue is actually a little higher than what you see on market. What enabled you guys, or what got you guys excited about bringing on these investors and giving Great Hill a larger cut than most Series C transactions?
Well, one of the things I'd point out as well is I think that valuation is quite conservative. Look what 6 Cents just raised, right? I think their valuation was what, $2 billion plus for similar run rate. So I would argue that the 400 million is quite conservative when it comes to the valuation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Fair enough. That was reported. I'm reading here live here, but not necessarily confirmed by your folks. But that was based off sources. So we'll see what happens. But point being, where do you think Great Hill can add value to the business? You know, people always go, you want to bring investors that add value.
Yeah, great question. Experienced private equity guys, folks that understand data, right? So you look at some of the folks from Great Hill, some of the partners that sit on our board came from ZoomInfo. ABM is so critical, at least the data element on how you personalize, how you collect, obviously in a privacy-centric fashion. But I think their data expertise, their strategic connections are highly valuable to our base.
Mm-hmm. What's your estimation, and then we'll wrap up with sort of product ideas, but what's your estimation on what Sisense is doing right now in terms of revenue?
6 Cents?
Sisense. Were you referencing Sisense earlier?
6 Cents. Yes, 6 Cents is the ABM.
Cents.
Yes, 6 Cents.
Got it. What's your estimation there?
I'd say they're over 50. I hate to use this vague term, but I think they're around 60 million plus, between 60 and 100 million.
Yeah, when we had that matches the data we have when we interviewed the folks there. So very cool. What about product? Sorry, what was your question? Who did we interview?
I was just curious who you interviewed at 6 Cents.
Nikhil. I'm going to kill his last name. Vora.
Okay, I don't know.
I think he's the founder. Usually, we're interviewing the founders of companies. Yeah.
I knew Vital or Vikal, one of the other co-founders.
Okay, nice. No, it wasn't him. But look, you've mentioned a couple of competitors, Drift, ZoomInfo with Incent, right? You know, they're going to buy Incent and try and drive it across their current base and increase ARPU expansion, right, across the thousands of customers. How are you thinking about chat and conversational marketing at Terminus?
Great. And by the way, I just told you that information, so you must have did some speed reading on this podcast here, man. How am I thinking about conversational marketing? I think it's the future of MarTech. I think the post-COVID in itself has really driven the need for real-time conversations, for taking playbooks and what we know about audiences and segments and personalizing. And the best way to do that on the domain, on the website, is through conversational marketing and chat. So I think you'll see a greater emphasis as a channel on the conversational marketing. And then he who takes the data, he who personalizes and adapts the experience based upon who is on the website is going to win out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Why ZoomInfo, obviously, smart move.
Yeah, I mean, Silent or however you pronounce it, just raised a $20 million at $100 million pre today. So, I mean, it's a hot space. Let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
Favorite business book, man. Hope is not a strategy. I love it. Old school.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying besides Terminus?
I like Nick Mehta at Gainsight.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Benioff's always an interesting guy to follow. Cliche ones, but
did Nick sell too early to Vista?
I don't know.
1.5 billion to me seems small when you see Gong going out doing 7.2 billion and Outreach going out raising at 4.2 billion 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the things that people don't realize with Gainsight, it's just, like most startups, it's not an overnight success. He's been in it for a while, right? It's a grind. So hindsight's 2020. I think you could make a case that he sold too early, but I'm sure he's happy with the outcome.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building a business?
Favorite online tool for building a business? Oh man,
what do you use the most?
That's hard to say. We're in the mix of some big post-cookie world ads product components. So I think from a product perspective, Figma has been brilliant. I think there's the Whimsicals of the world, and then you just have your standard, kind of CRM behind the scenes that provides all the intelligence. So
number four, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
No, so we have 2 girls, 1.5, 2.5. So more than you think, but I try to average between 6 or 7 hours.
Okay, so married, 2 girls, and how old are you?
I'll be 40 next month.
40, very cool. All right, last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Something I wish I knew when I was 20. Patience.
Guys, patience is critical. RambleChat, playing in the conversational marketing space, launched in 2018, or actually before that, raised about $2.5 million, burned through all of that. Then we had Justin join as part of the co-founding team in 2018. They turned the business around, grew to between 50 and 100 customers, paying between $1,000 and $2,000 per month. They sold for a 10x valuation multiple back in 2020, and Justin's now leading sales, product, conversational product, all that stuff now at Terminus as they look to scale, just announcing a $90 million round. Justin, thanks for taking us to the top.
Appreciate it.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.